Hey everyone, how's it going today? I wanted to show you guys some of the projects I've been working on, mostly as a side project, kind of personal organization level here in my Slim Organizer. This bin right here is the one that is always hooked on the bottom of my tool bag. I have a modified Vito Tech Pack Pro Pack. I don't remember what it's called. I'll put a picture right here. And I added some Packout feet to the bottom of it to latch on to one of these. And I always carry this on the bottom of that bag. And this container holds basically everything I need on a quick service call. So it's just enough parts to really get the job done, with the intent of, if it's going to be a more serious job, you go grab the main bin. So with that in mind, let me show you what I've got going on here. So the first thing you probably notice is this big gigantic one in the middle. And this guy is actually not quite in its final form yet. It is specifically designed to hold the bits that I use most frequently. I actually switched this design out. I'm going to have a whole bunch of the 6-inch bits in here instead of having a combination of the smaller ones, because I got those in the top right here instead. And this design is pretty slick, this multi-tiered system. Now, obviously, there's ways that you could get a whole lot more volume just by simply tossing a whole bunch of these in the original bin. Just you can fill, obviously, a whole lot more. What I was going for was ease of use and making it obvious if things were missing. In this case, if there's a specific bit missing, it's pretty obvious. I haven't totally filled this up yet, but these are made for the 3.5-inch bits, and these are made for the 2-inch bits here. Those are the ones that I have the most of, and then the 6-inch bits here in the bottom. So some of the design things I've done here to make this special is on each of these, I can look and point. Obviously they all have hexagonal backs, so the 1/4-inch shank to go into your tools, but if you want to look at the tips and be like, hey, I just need this Phillips number 2, you can literally just push on the tip you want and the correct back comes up. It's a small thing that for something I need to grab multiple times every single day, it just makes life a little bit easier. So when this is all kitted out, this is going to hold all of my specific bits that I use on a day-to-day basis. Not the maximum volume, but the maximum ease of use. Now, I've also got some other bins in here. You can see some of these are still on prototype print quality here, as you see, but you can also kind of get the idea of what I'm going for here. Again, with one of these, you can basically get that with the stock bin with a divider in the middle. And these connectors aren't small enough to want to slide underneath this divider like some small washers and screws will. Yet I decided to print this anyway. This does multiple things for me. It labels the correct connector on each side, and it seals them from each side just like the original bin does, and it makes them a little bit easier to grab. If you notice, there's a slope down there in the bottom. So when you're down to just the last connector or two, you can really easily scoop that out. Just one finger, real quick, real easy. And I'm following through with that same mantra of making not the most volume I can in this, but making it the easiest for me to use in my day-to-day work. So if I go to a more generic looking design here with just the cross in the middle, obviously you can't get that with the stock divider. You can put the cross in either way, but there's no way to subdivide it into 4 smaller squares. That was actually the original intent behind designing these. Initially, that's all I had done is 3D printed a divider that subdivided this into those 4 quadrants. The problem with that is that it is still a free-floating divider, and when you have really small things in there, they will tend to float underneath. So, and having it printed in all in one piece like this, my dividers are actually attached so nothing can leave. Obviously these things are a little bit bigger, so that isn't actually a problem, but that's why I started designing these in the first place. Now, what makes this special compared to someone else's of this same bin style and design? This is pretty straightforward. It's a regular bin that fits in this case here, divided into 4. And there's a lot of thought put into the small things on these bins. They're easy to grab, they have a fill line indicator on the inside, because if you know, these Packout bins, you can't fill them all the way up to the top because then the top won't close because of the ways that these are recessed and inset. So inside of these bins, there's a fill line. It's the top of the divider and it goes around the perimeter there. Easy to grab, and they stack wonderfully. I mean, these I can get a whole lot of elevation and tip off of. I mean, I am holding this at a pretty seriously extreme angle. Things are going to start falling out of the bins before they separate. Oh my goodness. And mistakes were made. Things like that are what make my design here somewhat unique. It's the same, but different. Because these are printed out of an ASA material, and the way that they are fixed on the bottom and not free-floating like the original dividers, they will hold up much better over time. Now, if you like what I'm doing here with things like this, I'll be selling some of these more normal style designs that aren't specialized for my specific use case like this on my website, which you can take a look at either up here in the corner or down in the description below. I love being challenged and designing these things to work as good as they can. So if you have some ideas on ways I can improve this or some specific thoughts, comment it down below and I'll take a look and I'll take it to heart. I really will. But that's all for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.